Welcome.
Hey,
Welcome back, Spirialis. Welcome back, Spirialis.
Thanks. It's been 3 hours.
Yeah. No.
I wish I could see Spirialis stream every 3 hours.
Alright, I'm Akko, aka Chocolate Orange. You might have seen me here before, I don't know.
I'm
From
Evan.
Spirialis.
I'm Evan, or Scott, or Evan's Fight. I've commentated a couple runs this marathon. This is my first one today, though.
Right, I think since we had some extra time, I was just going to go into, like, the tutorial stage and we just talk about some of the tech and stuff before starting the run.
Go for it.
Spirialis, real quick before you
Yeah,
start.
I mean, asked to lower game volume a little bit. I can do that.
And don't forget to restart your Discord stream.
Right.
What's our band name?
Did it crash? It did. Okay. Of course it did.
Everything is hunky-dory.
Shoutouts to Dory or something. Anyway, this game
Dory.
is all bangers, so strap in. We've got 30 minutes of cool music for you, mainly JEDM.
Right, I'm gonna be only doing World 6, so there is a lot more good music than you'll be seeing today. But the rest of the game is also great. Just want to throw that out there. Alright, got the screen back up.
Is where it came from, and don't worry about if it looks too hard, because this is, after all, hard mode since we met the incentive.
Right. So I guess I'll just enter the stage and we can just talk about it. So I guess the easiest comparison that I can have for this game is that it's like if Crypto the Necrodancer was a platformer. So we have these beats, and there's 4 main actions that I have. There's dash, and it's just the 4 buttons on like the face of the controller. So there's dash, there's jump, there's charge, which makes my next dash go farther, and there's also ground pound, like that, so I can jump and ground pound. And so I can do 1 action on every beat, and you see that there's these like strings of red notes. Those are the things that are added in hard mode. So in order to actually do an action successfully on those notes, I need to press a button, any button, on each part of that red string, and then whichever button I press for the last note in that red string is the action that will take place. So like if I'm just dashing, I just have to press the button on each one of those notes. What else is there to explain? We had a lot of things.
There's wall physics, so like wall jumps and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
There's several things I can do with walls. Like for one thing, if I dash into one, it kind of bounces me upward, and from that position it basically treats me like I'm still on the ground, so I can still get a full height jump. Because normally my double jump is just like a very small jump, but I can bounce off the wall and then get a full height jump and then a double jump after that. So I get a lot of height by doing that. That'll be useful in some spots. There's also various things with like wall sliding. So for example, like I can jump off walls like that, so if there's narrow vertical passageways, I can just climb up them with wall jumps. And the thing that gets kind of weird is that you tend to enter a wall sliding state exactly on a beat. So in certain circumstances, I don't think it works on this wall, but there will be certain times when if I press double jump very slightly before the beat, it'll just do a double jump, but if I do it very slightly after the beat, it'll do a wall jump. So the timing can get pretty precise on things like that. So like that's a wall jump, or a double jump, sorry, but this would be a wall jump. And another important piece of tech is that doing notes early or late is actually very important in this game. For example, just for horizontal ground movement, it's actually faster to do every note late. And the reason for that,
okay.
yeah, the game tries to get you like the same length on every dash you do, and in order to account for you going slightly early or late, it'll speed up or slow down your dash accordingly to get that same length. And by doing every note late, there will be a small amount of time in between each action where the rat is just, or Mad Rat is just walking. And so I can just get like a couple steps of extra distance between each action. And that'll also be relevant for like wall climbing sections where I'm just wall jumping. But there it's actually the opposite, because I slide down the wall slightly between each beat. It's actually faster to go early on every beat, because then I just slide down less, and so I gain more height on those jumps.
Yeah, so this game has relatively generous timing windows, but because of how the tech works out, Spirialis is only able to use like half of the timing window at best.
Right, in a lot of cases.
It's been said that the ILs for this game, like almost every beat, the input is early or late, and as Spirialis put it the other day, is it just sounds like a cacophony.
Yeah, most ILs are not optimized to that level, but the ones that are like that for sure. And it's telling me to hurry up because I just have a time limit on each stage. That shouldn't be relevant, except possibly in the last one.
Yeah,
with
that's
that said,
noting regarding the time limit and all. The time is determined in the number of actions you can take. So the time scale is dynamic with the speed at which beats are coming in. So depending on, you'll see all the enemies and everything else in the game actually changes its physics based on, or its movement based on how fast the next beat is coming in. So that's pretty cool like that.
And the time limit is like the only mechanic in this game that determines like winning or losing, because if Spirialis messes up and quote unquote dies, he doesn't actually die or go back to a checkpoint. Instead, time freezes and there's like a time rewind mechanic. So every time he makes a mistake, he can rewind to whenever he feels comfortable and then continue the stage like that. But you still lose the time in the top left corner, and when that hits 0, you fail the stage.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess I'll just get started then. I'm gonna be like doing the notes at the very beginning of the stage late, just to do that a little bit faster, just because there's not a lot going on the like initial horizontal stretch. But after that point, I'm going to be trying to do most things on beat, just because I think that's easier and mostly more fun. Oh yeah, I'll restart. I completely forgot about that.
Okay.
All right, count me down.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright, I'm mostly not going to be talking because it's kind of hard to speak while playing this game, so Akko and everyone are going to do most of the commentating for me.
If anything, I'm impressed he can play the game while we're even talking.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I play games that I'm serious about is just with the minimal amount of sound possible, including no music whatsoever, much less music and sound effects and talking.
Yeah, when we did the Spin Rhythm showcase last year, I'm pretty sure all of us deafened, maybe one person didn't. And then Osu showcase, I think about half of them deafened as well. So that's generally what we would do for rhythm units. Anyway.
Spirialis is built different.
Restreaming.
But yeah. So most of this will be like pretty vanilla. There will be some neat little cycle skips and stuff like that.
We'll see a skip right here, actually.
Yeah,
because,
getting under that girder.
You want to talk about it?
So the way it was explained is, so when you dash in this game, we explained that you can dash by hitting the face button, right? You can also do a thing where, I think if you press the opposite direction, you can shorten the length of the dash. So by getting the length of his dash just right, he can trigger the girder falling at a proper time, so he can dash under it in just enough time and save, probably not that much time, but a good amount.
Yeah. Another thing you might have noticed there is that when Spirialis gets close to these enemies, you can see an orange targeting thing show up, and that allows you to use your, you can essentially like homing attack onto the enemies with that targeting.
You can only do it after a double jump, it's worth noting.
Mm-hmm. You'll see that at some points Spirialis can skip some of them because the spacing works out. And yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about before, where the time scale is dynamic with the music, so it's quite cool like that.
There's another mechanic in this game. We explained the charge, which if you press charge and then your next action is dash, your dash will, I think, be faster, and it goes a little bit further, right? You can't do a charge while you're sliding down like these slopes.
I messed that one up though, unfortunately.
It's okay. You can't do a charge while you're sliding, but you can do a charge right before you start sliding and then walk onto the slope, and then you will maintain the charge for when you're at the end of the slope. So that's a somewhat important mechanic for these long sliding sections. The good thing about not always having something to say about this game is that the music is just so good, so you can just kind of vibe to it, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually pretty fast paced. There were a couple of moments there where there's something I wanted to point out, but it's a lot of fast paced tech happening. It's hard to describe before Spirialis is like 30 seconds past it.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time to go into the nitty-gritty in this game, that's for sure.
Yeah, but with that, we're done with 6-1.
Yeah, that's the first level. We got, what, 7 total, I think? Yeah. So these conveyors, they're moving to the left. So what Spirialis will do is he'll jump in the air so he doesn't slide to the left, and he'll do charged air dashes. And that's just the most efficient way of doing it. And now slide to the right. I think that last one was to the right.
Yeah. These conveyors are going to the right, so
Stay on the
sliding
ground.
on the ground is faster.
Yeah.
In this climbing section, Spirialis is using the wall dash to gain height and maintaining the full height jump. You can see that he's doing that each time he runs into a wall here.
Gets him like barely enough height just to dash across to the floor.
Damn, the sax goes though.
Yeah, it does. This game does look really hard on hard mode, but I always thought it looks like way more interesting watching this game on hard mode than on normal mode, so good job meeting the incentive.
Yeah, what's funny is that there are some cycles that aren't actually timed to the music. I think there's one area in the game that has these water cycles. It could be a challenge to get through if you have a rough spot in the music.
I almost thought when I was watching Spirialis play this game for the first time that the entire music was dynamic and purposely slowed down and sped up at certain parts of the level, because it always just feels so right. But no, I think the game is just built in such a way that it always feels satisfying and right, like no matter when and where you are in the song.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that it's oh.
That's the rewind.
Love tap.
I would have to imagine that it's designed around what it sounds like with like low deaths, or I guess you can't really call them deaths, but you know, low damage taken, so that it's relatively timed. But then it's kind of like designed the other way around for the most part, where the game goes along with the speed of the music rather than the other way around.
That part can be really rough if you get that at the wrong time in the music.
Yeah,
it usually lines up well, but
believe
occasionally that happens.
I believe those enemies are on a global cycle, right?
I believe so, yeah.
One other thing about enemies in this game is right before you see Spirialis attack them, you'll see a little marker on them. And if it's yellow, that means he's going to jump into it. And if it's blue, that means he can ground pound into it. And sometimes you'll see both, and it's his choice of what he wants to do, and it usually doesn't matter, I think, but that's why sometimes they're yellow, and sometimes they're blue, and sometimes there's both.
I think we're getting close to the end of the level here, right?
Yeah, it should be pretty close. You can tell on the bottom left how there's like the little orange arrows and then the goal. Now that all 5 of them are orange, we're basically in the last section, and there it is. There's 6-2.
S+, wow. Who would have guessed?
That was pretty good, except for that one sliding section that just didn't work out.
Alright, so this level's the
The funny
fun
one.
level. Yeah. So this is the only level that we're doing today with big skip. It's gonna look really funny. So I mentioned earlier that when you die, you get a little time rewind. You can go back a couple beats to your leisure, but you can also do that at your command if you wish to do that for whatever reason. And there's a weird mechanic that we don't know what it's called. Some people call it super jump, some people call it
Like pause exploit.
yeah, pause exploit or pause storage, whatever you want to call. But you there he goes.
Yeah, you do that.
You dash into the wall, and you wall jump late, and then you wait a little bit, and then pause, and then after you pause, you rewind to a state where you're still like in the air mid jump, and then you unpause and pause again 2 more times, which stores a whole bunch of height in your jump. And then as soon as you actually unpause, Mad Rat just goes flying into the air.
And, it's a bit, we're a bit behind now, but like what you saw is he was running across the top of the level
Yeah.
and then dropped back down to the end.
Yeah. That's the only time we're like really majorly glitching this game, I think. The rest of it is basically intended mechanics. This level's pretty vanilla. I don't think there are any crazy cycle skips or weird tech or anything like that, just to kind of play the game well.
Blue
Don't
Eye,
run into
anything you
obstacles.
want to mention? That would be an okay time.
Just that we're very close to getting that extra up a party match. Just a couple hundred left.
Let's get it done. I don't know if I have the peripheral vision to be able to play this game properly at all. Like, I feel like there's no way I'd be able to see what's going on in the platforming section and also be hitting the beats properly. Like, even on normal mode, there's no red beats, and it's generally like a little bit slower and easier to do. But Spirialis makes pretty good work out of it.
Is this in 7-8? I just realized.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty
Maybe
sure
that
at least
section.
that section was in 7-8.
I don't think the whole song is, but that section might have been.
Yeah, Blue Eye raised something in chat, which is that you do get extra time by getting the triangles.
Correct.
I don't think we really need that in any of these levels, but it's definitely a mechanic that's useful when you're going through the game the first time. Yeah, this is back and forth for them. Too bad, no more 7-8 for us.
There's 6-4.
Relatively
good time.
vanilla.
Good time. Alright, this level is stubbornness
Yep.
from Farewell. There's rhythm blocks, but instead of being blue and pink, they're made out of cheese.
They're also blue and pink, though.
Oh, they are? That's right.
Yeah.
And they're made out of cheese. Advanced technology. they are. I think having the rhythm block mechanic while also you yourself are limited to beats like kind of adds like a fourth dimension to the rhythm block mechanic.
It's pretty interesting. In my head, it feels like something that would either be redundant or like completely screw you over on the cycle. But I think the game does a good job of not managing to fall into one of those two camps.
Yeah. Like I said, this game always makes you feel like you should be afraid of something just going absolutely wrong and being unable to do it properly, but that just so seldomly happens that I guess it's a well-made game.
But yeah, you can see here that the blocks switch fast enough that Spirialis isn't waiting that long on any specific one, but slow enough to where you're not really, you always have an opportunity to make it.
Nice recovery.
Oh.
Oops. And now we're in Golden Ridge. There's wind. It feels a little bit longer than the other ones. Not sure why. I mean, some levels definitely are longer than the other ones. Like, the amount of time that you get per level, the time limit, is different per level.
And you can use that as a decent estimate of how long the level is. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think a big part of what makes this one feel so long is also that we have less to talk about here. But you'll see we're getting into a section with some wind here. We'll see more of that right at the end. There's going to be an upwind right here. So shoutouts to Celeste. Go ahead.
Left dashed one enemy too early.
The upwind will automatically recharge his air charge that he can use to jump or dash, but it's faster to use the wall whenever you can, so that's why sometimes you'll see him just jump off of the air and sometimes you'll see him dash to the wall. Alright.
Clean.
So we got one more like actual platforming level, and then the level after that's the boss.
The last two songs are both by Camellia, by the way. I think this is my favorite stage in the game also.
Is this Camellia?
Yeah, this
Yep.
one and the next song are both Camellia.
Yes, I love Camellia! Shoutouts to Konami. Shoutouts to OSU players and other rhythm gamers in the chat.
So this section, you'll see Spirialis actually do late wall jumps a little bit because it allows you to dodge those enemies that are falling down. Usually if you do your wall jumps early, which is what you want to do under normal circumstances for extra height and it's just faster, but for that part he does it late. I don't know too many other rhythm games. Wait, okay, this part is cool. So Spirialis is going to try to sneak under this flame right here.
I'll rewind far enough to try that again.
Yeah, try it again. And this is a really weird...
My spacing is weird. I don't think I can do it this time. Okay, well...
Wait. That looked viable.
Yeah. It's a really neat strat that saves seemingly very little time. But you can sneak under that platform in such a way that you can go under it and then just jump up when you're on the other side. And it's really weird to pull off because your spacing's really important. And there's also a part of the strat where we mentioned how there's 4 face buttons for 4 different commands, and usually you're doing one of those at any given time. It's one of the few times where the correct move is to actually not hit any buttons on the beat. It's important for timing the dash on the underside of the flame there. But yeah, doing no action is actually a viable tactic in this game under normal circumstances. It's usually not fast, but if you're playing this game casually, you don't actually get punished for waiting out a beat and doing nothing. What was he saying? Oh yeah. I said there's a lot of rhythm games out there that are worth showcasing, like Osu and whatnot, but there aren't too many that I know of anyway, where there's like actual speedrun tactics. I guess Crypt of the Necrodancer you can speedrun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there was that other one, BPM. Maybe there's something in that.
Yeah, maybe. More rhythm blocks. Getting pretty close to the end of the level here. Nice, yeah, get those late beats. Save those frames. Alright.
Do you know which track is the fastest in terms of like beat density?
It might be the third to last one. I'm not sure though. Well, it does have BPM numbers on these tracks. I don't know if that's like an average or a highest number, or I don't know what the deal is, to be honest. Anyway, this is the last stage. It's boss fight.
So this is the final boss, and you may have noticed that the time limit is a hulking 999 for this boss, and it's well justified. This is a pretty long boss fight, and it's difficult.
The timer literally maxes out at 999. There's no it can't go to a 4th digit.
No.
Also, we're fighting the supposed rat god. She's pretty cool. I like her hat.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. She kind of got that moe factor. One thing that you might see Spirialis do in this boss fight is he can stall in the air by doing a charge, and even though he won't be using the charge for a dash or a jump or anything, just using the charge as a waiting move while in the air will allow him to dodge projectiles more easily in some cases. Okay, this thing on the right, yeah, it's gravity. It's getting pulled into it. This boss fight kind of has the rule of 3 going on, but instead of just hitting her 3 times and it's over, you have to hit her twice, and then it will trigger it's going to trigger a vertical climbing section, and then you hit her while she's up in the air, and that's like the first actual hit. And then there will be 2 more regular hits between the next vertical climb, and then there will be 2 more regular hits between the last vertical climb. But yeah, here's the first one.
I messed up a rhythm there.
Oh yeah, in this cycle, the little crescent moon surrounding her. Ideally you want to get here like right when you can jump up through it and hit her. But
yeah, I got there at exactly the wrong time.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out. But that's the first one. We're gonna do 2 more of those, and then I think, is it time when you get the 3rd hit?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll call time then when we get to that point, but it's not gonna be for a few minutes still. This fight gets pretty chaotic the more it goes on too. Because now Spirialis has the gravity portal thing while he's dodging like a lower ceiling, and also there's projectiles coming at him.
And also this song has some wacky timings in it, so
Yes.
you get to see Spirialis deal with that at the same time. And like I mentioned before, all of these attacks are changing in speed based on how fast those beats are coming in as well. Tom asked, I'm a bit late to answer this, but Tom said, I think rhythm platformers tend to be rather auto-scrollery by nature. And I wouldn't say this one is necessarily auto-scrollery, but there is a lot of stuff that's like, that's very much based on these cycles. Like I said, there's a certain number of beats for any kind of attack pattern or for enemies to move. And so that is there to a degree, but you've seen throughout this run that there is a lot of tech and there's a lot of options to save time. There's a lot more execution in this game than you would expect out of a rhythm game. Okay, that doesn't make
You expect a lot of execution in rhythm games.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right if you're thinking of it in terms of rhythm game execution, but I'm talking about like speedrun execution versus like rhythm. If that makes sense.
Swag.
Yeah, exactly.
And money.
Mess with the rhythms again.
There's a lot of that in Mad Red Dead. Alright, coming up on our 2nd hit here. Almost. Never lucky, man. Never lucky.
Alright, and you'll see that Spirialis got the 2nd hit with about 400 left on the timer, and we started at 999. So even with an experienced player playing it really well, you cut it somewhat close.
Yeah. Yeah, you do not have a lot of time to lose. I mean, we've only had like, what, 2 deaths, I think, at this point? Maybe 3?
I think it was 2, but I might be lying.
I think he had 2 on one climbing section and 1 on the other. But yeah, and like deaths don't cost a lot of time in this game. They cost, 5 time. I don't want to say seconds, because they're not seconds.
Beats?
It's the classic Mario World phenomenon. There's a time limit in that game too, but it's obviously not seconds, and it's just labeled time. But yeah, the mechanics in this are getting pretty goofy. This is a good example of a time where he's going to use charge to stall in the air like that, and then ground pound. It really helps dodging these blue orbs. And if you don't know that tech, I think this section becomes pretty hard. And he's got basically no moment of reprieve at all, because as soon as that attack ends, there's spikes coming out of the ground, hats coming out of the air, shockwaves coming out of the hat. Alright, and this is the last vertical climb, so time will be when Spirialis gets the hit at the top here. So it's coming up soon. Going a little bit higher, because it's the final hit on the final boss. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. And time. Yay!
Barely missed the S plus on that. You need 150 beats left over. Didn't quite make that. It's really hard to do it on that stage.
Yeah, imagine being like as good of a speedrunner as Spirialis is and not even getting the highest rank for speed. That's how hard this boss fight is.
Sad.
Yeah, that was the final world of Mad Rat Dead.
Yeah, well done.
This game's on PS4 and Switch, and if you're interested in buying it and have any interest in potentially speedrunning it, I'd recommend getting a physical copy, because you can only do the pause glitch if you down patch, and that is difficult, but not quite impossible to do if you're on PS4. I think it's impossible on Switch without jailbreaking or something. So just something to know in advance.
All right. Oh, I'm glad the incentive was met. That was quite a banger.
Yeah, I
Oops,
think it's
all
one more
bangers.
fun. Oops, indeed.
Yep, fun game. Thanks for having me.
Yep, thanks for having us.